final thing on the docket for today is last week we talked about the addition of the newest super team from Invictus. That is the foursome of Josh Al-chamaa, Chandler Smith, Devin Kim, Lauren Fisher. Two athletes who stood on the podium last year, on top of the podium for the Affiliate Cup, and Al-chamaa and Devin Kim, and now they're being joined by two very good athletes, individual athletes, and Lauren Fisher also has a little bit of a pedigree on the team, which is where she started her career with Invictus. And Tommy, you spoke to Josh Al-chamaa about how this whole thing came together.
Before we dive into the most recent announcement in the team that will be competing, I want to start by kind of backtracking a little bit. Last season, CrossFit Invictus returns all four teammates, with hopes of running it back and winning after, coming up just a little bit short on the podium. When that happened and you mission accomplished, when did discussions start to happen around, all right, what is going to be the next step and what is it going to look like moving forward?
Yeah, so we knew going into the 2023 season that it was going to be our last season as a four, all four of us together. So the discussions in terms of building the next team didn't happen soon after, but my mind definitely started drifting after winning. I find that I'm the kind of person I've set out to these goals and I achieve them and I try to enjoy them, but I very quickly think about the next thing and what else can I create and what else can I accomplish. So there was a thought process going on in my head, but not really any deeper discussions until a little bit later in the year. Once I started figuring out who I could team up with and who would make a great team. I'm obviously, we have Devin who's on our team, but I'm the male that's staying on the team, and you kind of end up taking this role where you try and piece things together and figure out who would be, the next fit for me and how we can generate a new team. Invictus is the house of teams. So we had to come up with a great idea and a great plan and a great strategy. And I had to see it through, even though we didn't know what was going to happen at times. And then obviously we got to where we are now.
Mm-hmm. And how did Chandler and Lauren enter the discussion? Because I think for a lot of people, that was kind of the head turner. Like, oh, I figured Invictus was probably going to put something together, but I didn't necessarily maybe think that it would be these two athletes, joining the mix.
Sure. Yeah. So, so for myself, I've been, the first program I followed was Invictus back in 2017. So I feel like Invictus is in my DNA. Yes, I floated around other programs, but it is definitely within me. Same thing goes to Lauren. Invictus has been in her DNA for many years, even though she's moved around different places. So it's excited that we can bring that together. Putting Chandler in the mix, it's no secret there was talks and discussions of Chandler going on a team with Noah, who has an exceptional team put together already. I think it just came down to the fact of moving and being in different locations. Both are pretty much set up in their home locations. Chandler's a San Diego boy now. So I think I would be lying if I said I didn't have this idea in the back of my mind. He's one of my friends too. And I love the idea of training with him. So I was like, there's no better person to be on a team with. But also you have to be respectful to the friendships and the relationships that go, outside of this sport. We compete against each other, and not me and Chandler, but I'm going to be competing against Kohler again, and all these various other athletes. But there's a lot of respect and love that goes on behind the scenes, even though there might be a little bit of trash talk now and then to make it exciting. I have love for everyone that's on other teams, and I had to respect the love that Chandler and Noah have for each other. And I think if they had been in the right locations, it might look a little bit different. So I'm just excited that I get to be a piece in this puzzle that we had to put together.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to beat San Diego as a location too. So that's certainly something that factors into it.
It's pretty cool out here, that's for sure.
Yeah. And as far as kind of motivation goes, we were speaking a little bit before this off camera. Last season, I felt like the motivation was very clear for the team. You come up short. You had a very clear goal to make sure that didn't happen again, running it back with the same four. I saw it in person a little bit when I was down visiting during the Open, just seeing the kind of single focus collectively as a unit. Where does the motivation come from for the team this year, now that you've added two people into a combination that already has two people who won it?
Yeah, so we are all competitors, and every competitor wants to win. That's always going to be a primary goal. Some might look at this and say, well, Dev and Josh, you've won. So, maybe your foot comes off the gas a little bit. But I truly believe that we're the type of people, once we attain something, we don't want to let it go. And that really is the driving force, I would say, for me and Dev. You've also got Chandler coming into the mix, who respectfully is the 7th fittest man in the world currently, obviously taking that in 2023. And he wants that world title too. And the same goes for Lauren. So I feel like we're all kind of in the mix trying to achieve the same goal. The same goal is always winning. For me, I would say I want the win more for my teammates than I do for myself. Of course, at the end of the day, I always want to win, but I think now it becomes even more important, even more special, because you have these, amazing athletes that, are gracing us with their abilities. So I want to make sure that I can give everything I have to make sure they achieve the goals that they set forth.
Mm-hmm. And obviously there was aspects of any team that makes them unique or special in their own way. And I know it's still early, but I know that you do have experience training with both Chandler and Lauren, and obviously Devin over the last couple of years. But what is it about this combination of 4 athletes that you think makes them special in a way to where you guys can repeat and win the affiliate cup for a second year in a row?
We have, amongst all of us, we're very different. Dev will always be the baby of the group. I will probably be the granddad of the group. And then you have the 2 in the middle of Chandler and Lauren that just come with heaps of experience, which Dev also comes with too. So I just think, Chan has a way of, he's also part of the staff here at Invictus now. So he has a way of, getting us together and coaching. Everything comes down to the numbers and down to the fine details. I'm definitely the person that is always telling everyone to nut up and just do what is required of them. I take a little bit more of an aggressive approach in that sense. And then the girls keep us level-headed and piece the whole thing together so we don't go crazy. So I think we have a really unique dynamic in terms of that, which can create something special. Of course, it is a new team. Yes, me and Dev have been together. I've done some training with Chandler. The training with Lauren is a new thing for me. So we're working on that team dynamic, because I truly believe you win the games by being the most unified team. And I've said this to friends and family, but I'm happy to say it publicly. If you look back on paper, people might not have paired or pieced us athletes, me, Jorge, Britt, and Dev, as the winners of the CrossFit Games, just based on who we were at that point. But we didn't win based on what we may have done prior to that. We won based on our love and our passion for, making sure everyone achieves their goals. So even when we were, had our backs against the wall and we went through some tough times, we had, years of history. We knew each other like family. I mean, I spend more time in this gym than I spend with most of my family, apart from my wife and my child now. I don't see many members of my family for the 6 months that I'm here. And then after the games, I'll kind of touch bases on that. So you become family, and that's how you have to treat it.
Mm-hmm. I think the tough love you're looking for is a stiff upper lip. Is that a phrase that they use in England every once in a while?
Yeah. And I definitely take that approach with my training and how I do things, and I push that onto others. So it's nice that we have a combination of different dynamics and different ways of dealing with things. I think team is very much about having great athletes, but it's also having great athletes that know how to work for each other. You can have great athletes that really just don't see the end goal, and they shut down and maybe don't want to do what they need to do for the person that's standing in front of them. Even though I haven't been in the army, Chandler has. I treat it like going to war, and no matter what happens, I want my team to know that I'm going to be standing by their side.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And you touched on the family aspect, and this is something that has rung true for me for a long time. CrossFit Invictus has been at the game since the very first affiliate cup. They're one of the few gyms that can lay claim to that. I was down there for the first open workout last year, and I got a sense of it even this far into the life cycle of the affiliate. You still had that family vibe to it. Watching you guys meet in the morning and talk training and approach and things like that was another aspect of that. And from you on the athlete side, what is it about Invictus that makes it so special, that's allowed it to succeed such a long time and also be successful, in the team competition, winning an affiliate cup nearly 10 years apart?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a great question that comes with many different angles that you can take. I think the word family alone is something that we try and live by. You also have to couple that with sometimes, like, I want to say that family is the be all and end all, but you also have to have great personalities. You have to have people that come in with the same clear goals. You know, it's not a goal always of winning, but it's a goal of, you know, pursuing excellence and being better. And what happens is you kind of wean out the ones that don't have that vision, and the ones that do end up staying, and the family gets stronger, and we bond even more. We do have a way of doing things in terms of this gym. I think is unique because all of the teams that we put together come from this gym. We train in-house together all the time. We turn up, you know, 8:45 in the morning. We have our morning brief at 9:20. We get into, you know, the crux of our work, and then in the afternoon we do the same thing, same process. After each workout, we dissect it. We figure out what went well, what didn't go well, you know, what we could do differently. But we do it in a group of 15 of us. Yes, that can be a challenge at times, you know, because you have so many different people that need different things. But that's what creates the Invictus family. And I think that's what's allowed Invictus to be successful for so many years. Also, Invictus knows the power that they have. And I can speak for myself. I started with Invictus in 2017 when I was living in England. I moved around a little bit. They encouraged the move around, which is crazy. But the minute I came to California and they knew I was out here, they said, we'd love you to come in. I came back, and, you know, now I'm back here, and it feels like I'd never left, you know. So I think they have a way of understanding that, you know, there's no cutting ties when you move or you shift or you want to try something new, but there is a level of respect we have for each other. And when you want to come back and you're ready to be a part of that, they don't shunt you out, which, you know, some people can do sometimes. So I think for me, that's what makes it very special. And I think it's this, we try and take this like uplifting approach. I was new to the gym 3 years ago. I'm not new to the gym anymore. So that means I have to help those that are new to the gym. You know, the young kids that are coming through, or the new athletes, if they come and ask me a question about how they're lifting, their gymnastics, you know, some of these might even beat me in a few different things, but they respect my experience, and I'm going to give them, you know, every piece of information I have, because at the end of the day, if one prospers, we all prosper. So
Team division is going to be a lot of fun, man. We've got 4 so far super teams right now that I think you would put in that category. And like I said last week, you can make a legitimate case for all of them to stand on top of the podium. But Tommy, I'm interested to find out, like, was there anything that you learned about the Invictus team from that conversation with Josh that you didn't know going in?
It definitely confirms some things in terms of what the good that's going on inside the walls of that affiliate, both from having all of their teams that are prospective to compete in the season, training together, working out together, kind of rallying together, sharing information amongst them in a very open source process. Also, how well integrated all of those athletes are to the affiliate. You know, he mentioned how Chandler, in the full interview, how Chandler's working at Invictus, you know, coaching and being a part of that community on a deeper level than just showing up, wearing the name on your jersey when you walk out to compete, and then kind of training in your own corner. That's not how they do things. I knew that was the case. I was confirmed to be that way when I dropped in during one of the open workouts last year. And then just hearing that continue with this new group of athletes is further, you know, solidifies that as long as there's going to be an affiliate cup or a team competition, Invictus is going to have its hat in the ring. And it's been able to do so since the very first one, and it will continue to do so because of how they cultivate their community there. And it's extremely powerful. And I think it's telling that, you know, Chandler Smith, coming off his best individual year really ever in terms of live competition, would be willing to jump on that team, you know, the next year afterwards. And same for Lauren, having, you know, gone to Iceland and back, and, you know, moved across the country and everywhere that she's been, to be able to come back a decade after she first competed for them on the team, you know, in 2013.
That's crazy.
Isn't
and
that nuts?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Invictus, haven't they, 2019 is the outlier, but other than that, haven't they had, and even then I think they did, they've had a team at the games every year, right?
Yep. They had 2 teams in 2019. They
That's
had
right.
Invictus, Invictus X too.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And you look at the athletes that pour through there. And you know, we certainly talked about this on and you can see it on the full interview, just about everything from the gym atmosphere, the location, and just San Diego in general. You go to San Diego, you walk around, and you're like, why do people get to live here all the time?
know,
This
it's
place is
so unfair.
awesome. It's, my wife went down there for graduate school, and that was seriously the only other place we've ever considered living is down in that area, and
It's so
it's
gorgeous.
phenomenal.
San
And
Diego's a great city.
they just found the mix, right? You
Mhm.
know, for some people, the right mix is caramel corn mixed with cheese corn, but for them, it's San Diego fitness and thrusters.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, if you've never been to San Diego, go. It's gorgeous. And people don't like,
Drop in.
yeah. And people don't like me saying that about San Diego. They're like, no, we don't like let them go to LA. We like, well, everyone thinks LA, but San Diego is just, San Diego's like all the best parts of LA without the stuff that you hear about that you hate, you know?
Oh yeah. And it's like, I would even say it's like better weather, right? Because of less smog.
Yeah.
And you don't get some of the valley stuff. And go and drop in at the gym. If there's like a CrossFit bucket list for affiliates you need to drop into, Invictus is one of them, just because how welcoming their community is, how awesome they are top to bottom. I mean, they went out of their way to make sure that I could get off a boat and jump into a class to get last minute to get the open workout done, and they were awesome. And
Never forget.
never forget. Oh,
Well, you can listen to that whole interview from Josh on Patreon as well. Same spiel as with Mal. If you want to be an official friend of the show, patreon.com/Talking Elite Fitness, exclusive content and access to our live Q&As every Friday. And thanks to Josh Al-chamaa for taking the time